This is the all-new Honda ZR-V, and this is everything you need to know about it. Before we start, for lots more new car reveals and reviews, subscribe to our channel and head to whatcar.com for a great deal on your next car. So, in Honda's lineup, we have the Honda E, the Jazz, the Civic and the Civic Type R, the HR-V and the CR-V. And now this is an all-new model to add to the range. The ZR-V is an SUV that's been designed to sit between the HR-V and CR-V. That's in terms of price and size. It is based on the Honda Civic, but rather than just making it a variant of the Civic and calling it the Civic Cross or something like that, it's an entirely new model for Honda, carrying the ZR-V name for the first time. At least that's the case here in Europe and in its home Japanese market. If you want to buy this car in the US, then it will actually just be called the HR-V, because the HR-V you can buy over here isn't available over there. Now, the Civic is an incredibly impressive car. In fact, we recently named it as one of the very best non-electric cars that you can buy. To find out exactly what makes it so good, click on the link at the top of the screen. So, a new car that's based on the Civic, you'd assume has a pretty good head start in life. But how different is the ZR-V from the Civic? Well, styling-wise, you can see that it definitely isn't just a jacked-up Civic. It has quite a different look all round and comes with new colour options, 3 choices of 18-inch alloy styles depending on your trim level, and different dimensions from the Civic as well. Now, you might expect that being an SUV based on the Civic, the ZR-V would be a little bit bigger in every department. Well, it is longer, it's wider, it's taller, it has a greater ground clearance, but strangely, the distance between the front and rear wheels is actually less in the ZR-V than it is in the Civic. This means, disappointingly to be honest, that space in the back of this SUV is likely to be a little less accommodating than what you find in the back of its Civic stablemate. And if you're a Honda Magic Seats fan, then unfortunately, like the Civic, the ZR-V won't have them either. The ZR-V also has a smaller boot than the Civic. This is because the styling of that car features a sloping roofline, which swoops down at the back to add a bit of visual flair and make this a kind of coupe SUV silhouette. But that does mean that it robs some storage capacity in the back. So whereas the Civic has a 410-litre boot, the ZR-V gets 380 litres. Sure, that's bigger than the pretty small boot you're stuck with in the HR-V, but quite a bit smaller than lots of the other cars that this will be up against. Where the ZR-V has the upper hand over the Civic is when you fold the rear seats down. If you do that, then the taller interior of the ZR-V offers a little bit more overall storage than the equivalent space in the Civic. So, what are the competitors for the ZR-V? Well, it's different enough from the Civic to mean that it will appeal to a different market and have a totally different set of rivals as a result. It's also quite a bit bigger than the HR-V, so it's closer in size to the CR-V and the kinds of SUVs that car is up against. That means it's likely to be cross-shopped with other large SUVs like the Ford Kuga, Hyundai Tucson and Kia Sportage. Inside, it's not just a copy and paste job from the Civic because it is a little different. There's a half fabric, half leather interior with some upgrades in material quality here and there. There's also a different centre console which has been raised up to allow for some extra storage space which you don't get in the Civic. You can also have some metal gear shifters, which previously you could only find in the Honda NSX. But the basic layout of the dashboard is similar, with a honeycomb style effect covering the air vents, some nicely nailed dials for the air conditioning controls, and a 9-inch touchscreen infotainment system with wireless Apple CarPlay and wired Android Auto. Having used this system a lot in the regular Civic, we know that it is pretty good by class standards and a huge step forwards from Honda's older infotainment screens. Other tech in the ZR-V includes a 7 or 10.2-inch digital driver display, depending on your spec, and there's a 6-inch head-up display available as well. Despite its SUV positioning and styling, the ZR-V won't be available with 4-wheel drive, and instead it will get the same front-wheel drive setup and hybrid engine as the Civic on which it's based. It's said to get a bit more power, but we haven't been told exactly how much more power. In the Civic, you get 181 brake horsepower and it can do 0 to 60 miles per hour in 6.8 seconds, with fuel economy at 49.5 miles per gallon in genuine real-world driving conditions. So it's reasonable to assume the numbers will be fairly similar for the ZR-V. It will come with sport, normal and economy driving modes like the Civic, but will also get a snow mode. The hybrid setup for the ZR-V, like the Civic, is fairly unusual. You get a 2-litre petrol engine, 2 electric motors and a small battery. Unlike most conventional hybrids, the system in the ZR-V has no direct connection between the petrol engine and the front wheels, except at high speeds. Instead, the electric motors drive the wheels while the engine charges the battery when necessary. This means that you get the performance benefits of the electric motors, like instant power, but without the need to worry about range or charging. You can also travel purely on electric power for short distances, such as in low-speed traffic, which helps boost fuel economy. No plug-in hybrid version is currently planned, but the new CR-V, which has just been revealed, will get a plug-in hybrid option. If you want to find out more about that car, click on the link at the top of the screen. And before you ask, unfortunately, a performance-focused Type R makeover for the ZR-V is not on the cards. A fully electric version of the ZR-V hasn't been confirmed, but could happen in the coming years. If you want an electric Honda right now, then there's the Honda E or the recently revealed Honda eNY1. You can find out more about that car by clicking on the link at the top of the screen. It's too early to know the full pricing and specification, but it's expected that the ZR-V will have a starting price around £35,000 when it goes on sale, and come with a choice of 3 different trim levels: Elegance, Sport and Advance. That would make the ZR-V a little more expensive than the Civic on which it's based, but the price increase doesn't seem ridiculous in that context. It would be, though, a bit of a step up from the starting price of the HR-V. But that's to be expected with the ZR-V being bigger and more practical. And at that price point, the ZR-V would be competitive against its closer SUV rivals. So, we know the Honda Civic is a fantastic car. It's nice inside, frugal, comfortable, good to drive. If the ZR-V can translate the excellent Civic package into the SUV world, then this could be a very good new car indeed. We'll have to get the full pricing and specs and drive it first to know exactly how good the ZR-V is. And if you want to make sure you can see our full review of this new SUV as soon as we've driven it, then subscribe to our channel, which will also give you access to all of our other new car reveals and reviews. Before you go, tell us in the comments below what you think of the ZR-V, and don't forget to go to whatcar.com for a great deal on your next car. In fact, if you've been eyeing up the HR-V, you can get a £1,500 saving on our website right now. Thanks for watching, we'll see you next time.